Welcome to Ear Biscuits. Today at the round table of dim lighting, it's us.
Hey!
Me, Link.
And me, Red.
It's been a while since we've ear biscuited. And here we are doing it with a video component.
Yes, for those of you who are just listening to this Ear Biscuit, you would be in the know if you were watching the video version. You would know that I have on a hoodie. Link has on a plaid shirt.
And I'm drinking.
I'm also drinking. Well,
from a mug.
I'm drinking a beverage, a Dr. Pepper beverage, not a sponsor.
Drinking some sort of grapefruit thing. Crank my knob a little bit. There we go. Turn up my volume.
Is that a euphemism for something?
No, it's not.
Or
I just wanted to hear all of us a little bit
okay, wow.
louder.
Okay, how's that sound? We're controlling the audio on this in here.
That's just for us. That has nothing to do with your listening abilities or the quality of your listening experience.
Yeah, so there was quite a break between Season 2 and Season 3 of Ear Biscuits, but we are back, and yes, we're bringing you the audio and the video experience, and
we're doing this every Monday morning now.
Yes.
So this is coming
We're
out.
not doing this on Monday morning, but
No,
you can receive it into your ears and also now your eyes, although we are not going to change it to eye biscuits, because that sounds like an Apple product that got shelved.
It sounds like a problem.
Yeah.
Like something you need to see the doctor about.
Yeah.
Doctor, I can't get rid of these eye
It
biscuits.
sounds like something you wake up with.
Of course, the ear biscuits kind of seem like that too. I've always thought that.
It's wax. I've always thought that it was just wax.
It's wax that comes out in like a sandwich.
But it's not. An ear biscuit is an audio waveform file that we create that then we upload to the internet, and then you find different and various ways to impute it into your brain.
I don't think we need to tell people what it is, except to like what we intend to do with it.
I thought I was going to explain how podcasts work.
It's
I thought
moje
that's what this first one was about. Isn't that the subject today?
No.
Okay, that's not the subject today. But we're just going to talk to each other.
Demir كي ليبيم ريتشي ليبيم كي خلاص
أحلى مصحح
ريتشي ريتشي يوش ليبيم كي يوم سكواد
Speaking to one another. Now, we don't do enough of that on the internet. If you enjoyed the first couple of seasons of, and listen, I'm going to have to figure out which camera I'm going to look at. I'm just going to look at whatever camera feels natural. Or maybe just look at you. Or maybe just look up.
Well, if you're talking to me, look at me.
Okay.
And if you're talking to,
I'm talking to
the listener,
to the listener
look
right
at
now.
the listener.
If you enjoyed Season 1 and 2 of Ear Biscuits, you know that usually what we did is we brought in a guest. They were often an internet star of some sort, and they signed this table, and we kind of drilled them with some questions and took you on a journey into their lives, and some people cried sometimes. That was unexpected.
Well, except we tried to get it to happen.
And that is going to happen on Season 3, but Season 3 is going to be a little bit different in that more and varied things will happen on Season 3. So sometimes we'll talk to each other, sometimes we'll talk to somebody from the internet, sometimes we'll just talk to somebody that interests us.
Well, and I don't want to say all this.
We don't know what we're going to do.
Sometimes we're going to do, and then
Holding it all very loosely, like a baby bird that has fallen out of the nest. You want to hold it tight, you want to hold it loose, and you want to let it fly right back up to the mom. But it can't fly yet. You gotta trash it because once you touch it, the mom is going to reject it. Actually, that's not true.
What do you mean
That's a myth. That's a myth. It's a myth. It's a myth.
but you weren't touching it. You were just touching it lightly, so the analogy doesn't work. Once you touch it, once you touch it heavily, then the mama won't take it back.
It's actually a myth.
Are you saying it's a myth?
If a baby bird falls out of the mom's nest, touch it lightly, but do put it back because it will not be rejected. That's a myth. I'm not 100% sure. That's why we have an internet connection here. Link, can you look that up and confirm? Because facts are going to be important. And it hasn't been important before, but in Season 3 of Ear Biscuits, facts are
Why are there so many words when all I need is a yes,
yes
or
or
no?
no. Give me a distillation, Link.
Because of these 31 adorable slang terms for sex from 600.
It's quite a diversion. What's the answer?
There's a wire above Manhattan that you've probably never noticed.
You're getting distracted by the side articles right now, and all we need is a fact check, man.
The best breakfast spot in all 50 states.
What is that? Is that
Oh my gosh,
like,
look.
is it just Denny's?
Doctor Strange is bleeding. What? I gotta click on
Hold
that.
on. Is it the different breakfast spots in all 50 states, or is it one place that you can go to all 50 states, like Cracker Barrel or Denny's?
These days I feel bad about that. And by that I think they mean touching a baby bird. It turns out my mom is full of baloney.
Please answer the question.
Your mom is full of baloney.
Yep. It's not. It is a myth. You can touch a baby bird.
Yeah, I didn't read the article, but from that one thing about where they said baloney, I think that's what it boils
So
down
facts
to.
are really important, and we think based on just one website that is a myth. You can touch a baby bird. But back to the analogy, we're going to hold a baby bird that is our podcast called Ear Biscuits, and I can explain how a podcast works, but I'm not going to because you probably already know, and maybe you're not interested, and that's not why you're here. But we're going to hold it lightly, and we're going to bring it right back up to the nest, and the nest is your ear, or maybe you know wherever you typically let podcasts into your body.
I feel like I'm going to talk less now that we have video because I rest easy knowing that, like, my exasperated look for that whole tirade is not anything that I need to vie for.
Yeah, right, yeah. You got all the attention you needed while I was doing that.
With a look, I didn't have... but I do... you should also hold other human babies lightly that aren't your own.
Unless you're trying to keep them out of a wolf's mouth or something like that.
And hold it, to grip it. Vice.
Yeah, you don't want to let an animal take it.
Vice grip it. But who knows what all we're going to try here at the round table of dim lighting. So I'm not gonna put a finite ending on the list. I'm gonna leave an ellipses. A dot and a dot and a dot.
Yeah, right.
I think, at least for this podcast, the general principle is there are things that, and we said this before, we said this in the context of Good Mythical More, but I'll say it here too. There are things that we find ourselves talking about. It's like, yeah, let's save it. Or, as much as we talk to each other, there's still other things we can talk about.
Right. There's always something to talk about.
Like what happened in the car the other day when we left for lunch and we were driving across Burbank.
You want to tell them about that?
I think we should tell them
thought
about
that was the kind of thing that we would keep to ourselves and take to our graves.
Well, we almost got in a car accident. It wasn't my fault.
It was my fault. I was driving.
But then we almost got in an altercation. There was a little bit of, I'll call it simulated road rage.
Okay.
Maybe on someone's part, maybe mine.
Okay.
And you a few minutes later, after the whole thing resolved, in whatever way we will explain.
I had an opinion about the way
you had an opinion about it.
Well, can I at least just skid the setup?
But then we had to get to where we were going to do what we were doing, which I don't even remember what that was.
Who cares at this point?
Who even cares?
Right. We're just going from point A to point B, fill in the blank with whatever it is.
And we never came back to fully discussing what happened. And I think that they should be
now
part
we can
of
have the listener, or the watcher and listener,
the
listener can be a part of this, or the watcher. I like the listener.
The listeners and watchers.
Welcome, listeners. Okay, so
since you're driving, you're going to start.
I've been in quite a lot of traffic things have happened lately. I told the story on Good Mythical More about the wreck that I was in.
Where you were rear-ended.
I was rear-ended. It wasn't my fault. But this situation was my fault. It was one of those situations where I didn't know what lane I should be in to turn, and I was kind of stalling out. We were kind of waiting for
you were looking at the GPS.
To update to tell me which direction to go, and I kind of slowed down and moved over, and there was a guy behind me who got very frustrated with me, and then it looked like I was about to take a left.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this was happening.
And it looked like I was about to take a left, and then I didn't, and I got right back in the lane and kept going.
But by it looked like you were going to take a left. I think what you mean is, at the intersection, you were in the left turn lane, and you had your left turn signal on.
Yeah, I was giving every indication was that I was going to turn left.
I don't know why. It looked like maybe a little bit I was going to take a left.
Basically.
In every single way.
Right.
You even started to take a left.
But in my defense, I did not have my left arm out the window pointing left. If you were on a bike, I didn't yell out, "Hey, I'm turning left." I didn't. I mean, it could have been more obvious. This guy's turning left. And then I decided not to turn left. And I decided to pull right back out into the regular road. And that was when I pulled in front of a guy who...
And I didn't see... First of all, hold on. I just tried to clear my... I was going to say clear my airway. But I'm totally... I can't hear anything right now because I tried to equalize.
What are you, a diver? What's going on here?
I cannot hear it. Hold on.
You're a man who's nearly at sea level in the air, and you're like, I was trying to equalize. What for? We haven't changed altitude in the past 5 hours. Like, why are you suddenly trying to equalize? You do this often?
I've done it over the past week because of the head collapse.
Oh, okay. That's not really equalizing, or maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Hold that bird.
Turn my notch. Notch my turn.
You want it? You want it up?
I'm floating.
Okay. So is that better?
Yeah, I'm gonna live with this.
Okay. Wow. That was interesting.
I didn't mean to derail your story. Did you see me grab my nose in the middle of you talking?
I was intentionally not looking at you.
Well, see if you weren't listening. So if you were watching the
link is now equalized for those of you
I'm actually
who
not
are worried about it.
But I'm just going.
Okay.
I think over time it's...
Link is not equalized, but we have turned the volume up in his headphones.
I hear a little.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be
sorry.
like a balloon that's slowly deflating.
Now, I did not have any purview to what was happening, and I didn't use that word right, but I didn't view anything that was happening.
It made sense in context.
The mirrors weren't for me; they're for you. So, the first thing I know is that you're swerving back a little bit, and I do hear a honk, and the car does not come by, so no one zoomed by you. So I just had to assume the guy was still behind us.
Right.
I never looked back. But at that moment, if I'm going to go back to that place, I don't know what it was, but in that moment, I was instantly angry. Like, I was legitimately angry that he honked the horn at you.
You might have a problem.
And I think what I said was, I don't remember what I said to you.
You didn't even know that I had done.
I knew that you had swerved a little bit, but what I said was like he's never made a traffic mistake.
Well, and
I said that.
And
to
right,
you.
and then we pull up to we're at the light.
Well, it was like another block, and that's all I said. It was like he's never made a mistake. Like, what right does he have to blow the horn?
Well, let's just get to the part where you begin asking him those questions.
but that is what I don't know what it is that in that moment of. I don't know if it was strength or weakness or just feeble-mindedness, but I was just angry. I just felt like, I don't know if it was defense for a friend.
Well,
and you felt vulnerable.
All I know is that I saw him get out from behind me as we were pulling up to the light, and he pulled beside us, and that was when Link rolled down his window. And
I rolled down my window as he was coming by.
And I braced myself a little bit. Tell him what you said, Link.
I had made up my mind that if when we get up to this light, he pulls up beside us and has something to say, I'm going to say something back to him because I'm mad at this guy. I just don't, I'm sure he's made a mistake, too. Not currently, but
at some point in his life.
At some point in his life, he's made a traffic mistake.
This is a great strategy.
And I don't know, I just felt feisty.
I noticed.
I was like itching for, I don't know.
But he started.
He punched.
He started. He was like.
I did not say the first word. You're exactly right.
He was like.
But I rolled the window down.
He was like, what?
Now, he didn't pull right beside us. He pulled a half a car length in front, and then he looked back.
He was a 45 away.
He was a 45-degree angle to me on my side.
But he was like,
down.
what? And then he said, what the are you looking at? What do you want?
But what was the
blank was a wordy dirt.
Was it the F?
It was the F word.
Really?
And I'm not talking about Frankie. No, I'm not. And he was clearly mad. You instigated. He was mad already, but when you rolled down the window, he was ready. He was the kind of guy who is ready for the window roll and
he was mad.
Has his catchphrase.
He was mad, but it turns out so was I.
And that's when you said an interesting tactic.
I said, I'm trying to remember exactly how I said it. I think I said, have you never done anything wrong before? Have you never messed up? And just like that. I'm not proud of it. And I think as we analyze this, I will be penitent and I'll say, you know what? I shouldn't have done any of this, and I'm not bragging, but I do think it's funny that I did this.
It's definitely funny.
But I thought that, well, that's what I said.
And then he's like, well, you shouldn't be driving, like, basically, I'm paraphrasing at this point, but you shouldn't be driving like that. You're an idiot. And then that's when I said, well, actually, and let me just say, I said it just like this. Well, actually, that loud. Well, actually, I'm the idiot because I'm the one who's driving. You should be yelling at me. And I thought that was a great tactic, but then you picked it right back up.
And I was like, because he didn't answer my question, I was like, have you never made a traffic mistake? And he said, why are you upset? Or something like that. He was like, why are you so upset? Or why are you yelling? And I'm like, and he was kind of yelling. And then I was like, I'm just matching your level. Which I guess wasn't true. It was true. He yelled first, right? I was just matching his level.
But that's not the kind of thing you say in an argument like that.
I was just matching your level.
I'm just matching your level, man. Like what? Like what does that accomplish?
Nothing. It was my reason.
I mean,
it wasn't a reason.
What I'll say now and what I said after I think what happened was he was like, why is this guy saying these kinds of things to me? This is not the kind of road rage argument that I typically get into. He's questioning my past, and now he's matching my level, and he's pointing that out to me. You're like having a meta conversation in the middle of a road rage argument, and
I didn't think I would be.
But you're yelling while you're doing this.
This embarrassed to talk about it later, but I thought it would be better reliving it. I thought I would. I thought by this point in retelling the story, I would have found a way to be the hero.
Well,
hey man, listen. Well, how about this?
Are you reliving it?
I'm taking up for you, man.
No, I appreciate you doing it, even though I don't really feel like that's what was happening. I think you just were feisty and you were like, I want to yell at this dude. I want to see what happens, see where this goes. You like to experiment with that. Like, you like to push people's buttons. You've always been that way. And I was very entertained by it. And my tactic was to take this. You should be yelling at me because I'm the one who did it. I'm the idiot because I thought that was funny to say those things. Now, but then
I will admit, there was a part of me, maybe 50% of my motivation was
entertainment.
Yeah, clearly. And the other 50% was, the first thing was I'm angry because I just don't feel like, I feel like we should extend grace to everyone on the road because we've all been there. And it just, I don't know, something in that honk said, I've never done this before. How could you do this? That was so stupid. It wasn't life or death.
No, it was just a corrective honk. I mean, I accept the honk. I think the honk was.
Да нахуй ваши машины, блядь, вы заебали, блядь.
Because I would issue a honk in that situation. I wouldn't issue the bird. I wouldn't unleash the bird and let it fly. I would hold it loosely if it fell out of the nest, though. But
if you then pulled up at the next intersection next to the guy,
you
wouldn't have your window rolled down. You wouldn't be glaring at
I'd never do that. I'd never instigate because you never know if they've got a gun or if they're crazy. I mean, this is Los Angeles. You don't want to mess with people.
Well, I could tell that he was generally a peaceful person.
Well, I know why because we talked about this. But let me just I'll give the people my assessment on this one because I already gave it to you, and that was I think that the way to handle that situation is if you want to engage.
Well, hold on, before you say it, because it's funny the way it came out because it happened, and let's say how the guy drove off. The last thing that was said, he just kind of like shook his head in disbelief, and then the light turned green. He went in front of us, and he was gone, basically. Yeah. And we didn't immediately start talking about it. It took a little while.
We went a mile or so.
And then you're like, it's like you were deciding when would be the best time to bring up your assessment.
I thought it was a teachable moment. And so I said, I think you could have handled that better. And here's what I think you could have done. I think that you could have said exactly the same words. Yeah. Changed nothing. And just said it in this tone right here. And when someone is yelling at you and then you're talking to them like this, it makes them so angry. Now, I'm not saying the idea is to make them angry, but if you want to one up this person, if you want to win the argument, if you really want to be entertained and win this argument,
you don't let them get in your crawl.
Right.
You don't lose control.
You don't match his level, man. That's precisely what you don't do.
Right.
You don't match the level.
Right. There's no power in that.
You maintain control. And if you had slowly rolled down your window and just kind of slyly looked over and been like, what? You've never made a mistake before? You would have been like, good. And then he would probably put his tail between his legs and draw me.
I had the right thought, but I had the wrong execution.
Well, you got to keep trying.
Exactly right.
You got to keep practicing. You got to keep practicing.
And when you said that, I was just like, I thought, I knew that I would learn something by doing it.
And where I will give you credit is I wouldn't have done it at all.
I learned something.
I wouldn't have rolled down the window to begin with, so at least you rolled down the window.
But it seems like you already knew it. I don't know what you would have learned. You just would have felt good by getting that guy's...
I think maybe we could work as a tag team, and maybe you're the one who rolls down the window, and I'm the one who does the talking. Like, maybe that's the system that we need to employ.
When you told me when you gave your assessment, first thing I thought was back in high school, that time when I scored 2 goals in one soccer match, and second goal I'd ever scored in like a soccer career, because I always played defense. I'm talking like even through recreation, I never scored a goal. And in high school here, I'm scoring 2 in one game. And I'm like, it's like I just won the World Cup. I did everything but take my shirt off and, skid across
over the top.
I just like, this was like, it's like I'd won the lottery. I mean, everyone in the stands thought that he'd probably gone berserk.
People had stopped cheering and you were still running.
And Josh Young, who was the striker, and he scored 3 goals. Anyways.
Yep.
He comes up to me once I go back, and we're setting up to keep playing the game. He's like, next time you should act like you meant to do it.
Right. Act like you've been there before.
Act like you've been there before. Like, you're not surprised that you scored these goals.
Act like you've been there before.
Because if you keep your cool, then you will be cool.
Now, we're going to continue this in a second because I do want to talk about why you felt safe engaging with this guy. I think it get us into some pretty interesting conversation. But first, we're going to pause to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks, shows, news, comedy, and more from your leading publishers, broadcasters, and entertainers.
Okay, now Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audible.com/earbiscuits and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a free title and start listening. It's that easy.
And now I have a recommendation. Okay, this is one of the best audiobooks that I've ever listened to for a number of reasons. It is called The War of Art. It's by Stephen Pressfield. The War of Art. This thing is, I think it's like just shy of 3 hours long. So, like easy road trip material, a couple of commutes or whatever, depending on where you live.
I listened to part of it with you when we were coming back for some.
If you are trying to accomplish anything creative at all, and you have that, what he calls the resistance, there's so many things that can be the resistance when you're trying to accomplish something creative, and that's what the War of Art is overcoming that resistance. And it was very, very instrumental for us. I read it, you listened to a little bit, but we kind of applied the principles together for kind of getting through those tough creative times where you feel like you don't have anything, and all the distractions that get in the way of creating great things. So that is my recommendation. So take us up on that offer at audible.com/earbiscuits. And if you haven't listened before, go check out The War of Art.
And also, we're very soon going to record the Audible version of our book, The Book of Mythicality.
Yes.
Available for pre-order, both the audio and text version now.
That's right.
So go to audible.com/earbiscuits. That's audible.com/earbiscuits and get started today.
Okay, so so finish what you were saying about the why you felt safe, because I know where you're going with this.
I made my mind up that if he came by with his window rolled down, I was going to be ready to pounce. But I felt safe doing that because he was in like a Prius that had a business plastered on the side of it.
Like a car wrap.
And it was a car wrap, and it said eco something.
Or like Green Partners or something like that. It was like
eco something.
It was an eco-friendly like company.
And I was like,
really, this guy's a loving up fighter.
Yeah. Tree hugger, not a tree chopper.
Right.
You know? So I assessed him and his vehicle very quickly and was like, all right, I'm going in on this.
Right. And interestingly,
I was right. He was cool.
Because this is a principle.
A lot more than me.
This is a principle I'd like to dig into, and that is this idea of you feel like you know something about someone because of the car that they drive.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking about this because it has gotten a little personal for me. Because you haven't seen this, but I am currently driving a convertible white Mustang.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's not mine. I'm renting it. And here, so you know, I was in the accident in my car. And
No. Oh, you can just say you wanted to rent a Mustang.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have a reason.
Well, I have a reason for why I was renting, but I'll tell you exactly why I picked this car and how it makes me feel about myself. So I was in the accident, and there was very little damage, but there was some like sensor damage on the back of the car, and I think the bumper's a little bit messed up. So it's in the shop, and my insurance gives me an allowance for a rental car. Now, I do this on a fairly regular basis. Like if I have to rent a car,
my wife gives me an allowance.
If my car is being worked on, or we're traveling or whatever, when I go into the place, they're like, "What would you like?" And I'm like, "Do you have anything interesting?" Because you know me, you know my personality. My personality is new, shiny. I want something that's new. I don't want to just get into the Chevy Malibu. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's interesting. That would be an interesting choice.
I want to get into something interesting. First of all, the woman says, "No, like, we have a minivan." That would be interesting for you to think that's what I would think is interesting. Like, I mean, Link knows that life very well. I've been in the minivan. It's not interesting. That's not my idea of a good time.
It's kind of anti-interesting.
Right. That's the whole point.
I mean, it's spacious. If by interesting she means like capable of hauling lots of kids,
that's interesting.
Then that's an interesting definition of interesting.
But she said, okay, other than that, we have a Camaro. And I was like, okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. I mean, all the kids that I knew in high school that drove Camaros were cool.
They were interesting.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. He says, but I think you'll actually fit better in our top Mustang. And I was like, cha-ching, yes, sir, show me the keys. So,
you were most interested in the keys.
Well, the keys are to starting a car. Is it a push button? It's push button. Okay, show me the button. High tech. Well, you got to have the key fob, they call it, to hit the button. You know how cars work. Dude, you want to talk about how cars work? Add that to the how podcasts work.
But you actually don't know how cars work.
No, I don't care how they work.
Right.
I mean, I just care if they work.
So I'm calling you on that one. So yeah, tell me how cars work.
So, it's internal combustion. I mean, I could tell you that. But
what does the carburetor do?
So I get into this convertible, and this place was just a couple of blocks from the studio, right? So I get into the convertible,
rack top down already,
and he's in there showing me how stuff works. He's like, you want it down? I'm like, yeah, I've got to go 2 blocks, but I'm going to go 2 blocks in style. And so, as you can imagine, I'm a large man. I'm very tall. I have very high hair. So I noticed very quickly, as soon as I pulled out into traffic, that my hair is basically above the windshield. So it is wind shear, just right there. It hit me right there. So my hair is like vibrating.
You think it might get sheared off?
I don't think I'm going to lose it, but I know that it's going to change the shape of my cut. You know what I mean? It's going to be wind blowing.
If you go to the convenience store, it's going to ruin your rep.
But I was very self-conscious about being in this white convertible because I was starting to think about what I would think if I saw a dude who looked like me in a white convertible with the top down. Yeah. by the way, no sunglasses at the time because I'd left them in the other car. You squint, so I look like a complete noob. You know, sunny California convertible, no sunglasses, too big for the thing. Hair wind sheared constantly.
I mean, you got Burbank tourist written all over you.
Well, okay, yeah, but here's what I
alone. You're on a business trip.
Well, everything that I could think about what I would think about me was negative, right? It was like, this guy was in one commercial one time. You know, that was one of the things I was thinking. This guy was like in a Restless Legs pharmaceutical commercial, you know, one of those things. Both legs? Treats restless legs, but gives you seizures kind of thing.
I thought it was just one leg, by the way.
Well, no, it's restless leg syndrome, but it can be. I have it actually, and I get it in both legs.
But you weren't in the ad.
No, but that's the kind of person that I looked like. A guy who has like too much hair for his own good, and it's blowing in the wind. And man, he looks like he could have been in a commercial one time. But it wasn't a great commercial, and he doesn't have a real career because he's in a Mustang, and he's in a white Mustang, and he's in like not the nice model of Mustang. He's in like the low horsepower model of Mustang that they use for rental companies.
I think you could look like the adopted son of a auto repairman who he asked him to like take the car for a spin to make sure that the repairs are working for took.
Okay, that is interesting in and of itself.
That's what I think you are.
But this whole idea of coming to a conclusion about somebody because of the vehicle that they're in, which first of all, that is a human. It's very human, but it's also the kind of thing that is would be very difficult for a caveman to understand. You know, one day there's going to be this thing that people get inside of and go around, and you're going to be able to make inferences about their lifestyle based on what they're in. It's gonna be like, oh, you know, you probably won't understand any of it because he doesn't speak English.
But what about?
But even the concept would be foreign to him.
But what about the cars that we're actually in? I mean, does this should also apply to what people think of?
It applies
our
to
actual
everything.
vehicles.
Well, what I kind of concluded is like, is there anyone out there who just thinks that I'm a guy who's getting his car repaired and just wants to have a little fun? No one thinks that.
No
but
one
that's
thinks
the
that.
truth. Because no one is going. Because you want to think the thing that is like judging people the hardest, right? That's the guy from the Restless Legs commercial.
Yeah.
That's the guy whose dad just worked on a vehicle and he's making sure the repairs took, which is what you're.
Yeah, I think that's likely. But by the way,
nobody's like, that's just a dude who's getting his car worked on and asked for something interesting.
would you feel freer? Because I mean, you're gonna leave tonight. You're gonna get in this thing tomorrow in the broad daylight. You're gonna pick me up at my house. We're going.
Как, блядь?
I don't know how I feel about that.
You want me to have the top
This
down?
is impacting me.
I've already thought about it. I've actually been thinking about picking you up in it. No, I've been.
Oh, Lee is he's gonna love it.
I actually was a little bit. The fact that I had to park on the street today because of what they were shooting out in the parking lot. And
Yeah.
So I knew you didn't see it, and I didn't. I almost didn't want to talk about this tonight because
Just a surprise.
because I wanted to roll up and pick you up.
I'd be like, you bought me a convertible?
Yeah. And
You're like, no, I just rented it.
And let me tell you, the whole riding down the highway, the freeway, at top speeds, with the top down, especially with my height, I've kind of, especially without sunglasses, I kind of felt like things were about to get in my eye.
You could
It's so
sully on
loud.
that thing.
It's so loud too.
Geese could
It
hit
also makes you feel
you. Could
like
land in the Hudson.
it makes you feel unsafe, not because you feel like you could roll over and like get your head cut off, but it just it like the reality of these big, loud, fast machines moving all around you is really, you're so immediate when you're in a convertible. You know?
And none of that sounds good to me. But I'm gonna withhold judgment until the moment.
But it's interesting. It is interesting.
I mean, this is Southern California, man. You gotta have that convertible experience. But would you feel more free if we took a sheet of paper and this with Sharpie just wrote on it, rental? My car? No. You can't say rental because then it seems like you're a tourist. You gotta say cars in the shop, minor damage.
Just wanted something interesting.
Just wanted something interesting. that wasn't a minivan.
Wouldn't have picked white, but it was all they had. It's quite a sign.
Two sheets.
I'm gonna have it's gonna be a piece of poster board.
We're going 2 sheets.
And where do I put that? I put it on the back.
Every side. I don't think I'm gonna be comfortable riding with you unless there's one.
I got every sign on every side
Well,
of the
I think we
Mustang.
gotta wrap it, or we can wrap the thing and it can say like eco something, and then it's like, oh, I get it.
Those guys are targets. Those guys work for an eco company. They're selling solar roofs to people. But the funny thing is that this happened to me earlier this week. What had nothing to do with the car. This is before I took the car in, and I was walking to my car that wasn't yet in the shop, and I had,
Which says what about you? Is that what you're getting at?
No. No, I don't. I'm moving beyond cars. I'm getting a little bit more personal. I'm
Okay.
talking about a tire at this point, not a tire of a car, but clothing. And that is okay. So we both have these. You're wearing it right now, right?
Like
What do you call them? Joggers?
Well, they're pants with elastic at the bottom.
They're these pants.
But I would never jog in them.
They're kind of like Bieber. Like Bieber was wearing these pants like 8 years ago, right? And so,
I mean, it's got a string.
They're drawstring. We actually both have a pair on right now. It's kind of got like a little bit of a drop crotch, and then you've got like the tight calves or whatever, and there's like this fake like bunching that happens. So we both have a pair of these,
And I don't like the string because you have to move it out of the way when you go number 1. I have to like hold all the string. I feel like it's like I'm gathering ducklings or something every time I'm trying to use the restroom.
Okay, well that's another discussion we can have. I can tell you what to do with the strings.
What do you do with the strings? You're like my dad.
Anyway, so
why you gotta be like my dad?
So
this is a teachable moment. I'll tell you about this, where to put the strings later.
So we've both got a couple of pairs of
Just
these.
tell me where you put the strings.
And
Just do it.
well, I don't gather them like ducklings. I just untie them, and then they just sort of naturally go into one hand. I just sort of grab them both with one hand, and then I just drop drawer. Drop drawer. And then do my business.
You had a point.
I don't think about it that much. And I also had on one of these shirts that
Probably peeing all over them.
I got one of these shirts that's kind of like it's a longer t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like longer than it probably should be, but it's also kind of in style in some circles. And so and then I've got my Jordans. I got a few Air Jordan 1s that I wear, and I like
Not bragging. I just got them.
I'm walking to my car. No, this isn't about bragging. This is about being self-conscious. This is where this is going.
Okay.
I'm walking to my car, having just said goodbye to my wife and children, 39-year-old man. And I kind of just look down at my feet, and I'm like, I got these Jordans on. I got these Bieber pants on, and I got this, it's like a Bieber shirt in a lot of ways. Not like Bieber now, but like Bieber a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And then I'm like, what would I think of me if I saw me? And then the same exact thing again. I was like, I would be like, who is this guy that was in the Restless Legs commercial one time, and he made a little money, and now he's riding it. He saw an article with Justin Bieber in it, and he saw him with a long t-shirt on and some drop crotch pants and Air Jordans. He was like, I want to dress like that, even though I'm about to turn 40.
Yeah.
Now, I could have gone back inside and changed, but I was like, I don't care, really.
Changing of what?
Like a shorter shirt. Like a normal t-shirt. Yeah. But then it just hit me. I was like, I'm wearing I think I'm wearing this stuff just because I go to the places where you buy clothes, and I'm like, oh, this fits.
I like fashion.
And somebody has determined that this is in style, right? Yeah. And so who am I to argue with that? I'm not gonna wear that.
I've had the shirt that I have on right now
A long time.
for freaking
At least a decade.
Let's really think about this. I remember wearing this shirt when we shot the pilot to Commercial Kings. Is that 10 years ago?
No, the pilot to Commercial Kings was
7 years
2010. Yeah. 2011.
I have had it 10 years.
But you've had it 10 years.
But it was hanging in a rack in there, and I was cold, and I just had a t-shirt on.
Well, it's just a plaid shirt.
stuff that's like, I like fashion, you know, you can't fault you for that. I don't think you're necessarily pretending. Well, I think you are, but you wouldn't necessarily be. But if I saw you and I didn't know you,
It's not pretending. It's making choices to put on things on your body. Put clothing on your body because you think a certain thing about yourself and you want other people to think a certain thing about you.
I do that every single morning. I think about what I'm gonna wear based on what I need to do and who I'm gonna see.
Well, you sound like a repairman. Like, I'm gonna go into the hole today. I got my rubber boots on. What do you
It's like I feel like we're just right in the day. I want to be more comfortable. I'm definitely dropping the crotch. I'm into that.
I will say that the drop crotch is super comfortable, and I feel like it's helping my back. So there is some functionality there because it's so loose. Everything is so loose, and it's like it's loose around your hips and stuff.
But I'm healthy. I've got this meeting today where I feel like I'm going to be opinionated, and I want my opinions to matter.
So what are you gonna wear?
So I might button the top. I'm going to wear a button shirt. I might button the top button.
Well, what is it like?
I don't want to wear a T-shirt
Because
Ну, ты, блядь,
because the T-shirt is just like.
сказать не можешь нихуя, блядь.
But if a man with an
Пиздец,
opinion is
блядь.
going to wear buttons,
Сука, что за, блядь, чмошники играют, нахуй.
buttons mean business, and the top button means a lot of business. But I better put on a hat to balance it because I'm not an old man meaning business. I'm a young man meaning business. I don't necessarily think about it, all of those thoughts, but those are the thoughts in general that make me button up, hat up, crotch down, whatever the case may be. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I don't feel really happy this morning. I need to put on my happy shirt.
What? You have a happy shirt?
You know that sweatshirt that has like the wolf on it that looks like the guy who came, the like pizza delivery man came to the door. I opened the door and he was like, oh.
He was mesmerized by the wolf on your shirt.
I see a snake on your shirt.
Are you now happy
Like the
because
first-
of what that
and
guy,
that
how
made
that
me-
guy responded to it?
That made me happy. So now when I put on the shirt, I have confidence that, I don't know, it gives me more
If
confidence.
I run into that delivery guy again, he's gonna love this shirt. That's my happy shirt.
Yeah. I feel like it. I want the day to. I gotta be really extra happy today.
Now I don't fault you because I've already explained that I do the same exact thing. You know, I am thinking about what people are going to think about me based on the clothing choices that I make. But let me just say that I think it's kind of a little sad. It's okay. You know, you've got guys like Steve Jobs was like the quintessential example of this.
Like Dennis the Menace.
There are lots of really successful people who say that having an outfit, having a Dennis the Menace, every single day you wear the same thing. The reason that those people made that decision is because they didn't want to make that decision every single day, right?
So many important decisions to make.
Right, I've got so many things to worry about. I'm gonna just, hey, this is what my wardrobe is. And some people might vary it up a little bit. Some people are like, I've got white shirts, black shirts, and gray shirts, but they're all basically the same. And I'm not making any decisions about who I'm gonna see. They just know that that's Link, and he wears a black shirt and white pants after Labor Day.
I mean, we got a friend who just wears a white T-shirt, a white V-neck T-shirt every day of his life. Jesse, not your wife. He wears a white T-shirt every day of his life. Think back. You've never seen him wear anything but a white T-shirt.
Never thought about
He
that.
has made that decision. I know better than you do.
Yeah, so
I've had a conversation with him about it.
is that his reasoning?
That's his reason. He streamlined it.
He doesn't want to make that decision.
He also doesn't like wear shoes or socks a lot either. Now, and I can be. You would never be that guy. You would never be the Steve Jobs uniform guy. But I could be, right?
It appeals to me.
Ну выйди, блядь, ну пристрели его, ну что ты за ёбарь, блядь, нахуй, я, сука. Как у меня, блядь, голову туда нахуй, сразу, блядь.
Yeah, and the other desire is my desire for do something that I think is of benefit to me, and it's like, that's a really cool idea. That's a cool new idea. So when I heard that idea of wearing the same thing every day, that was the newness that intrigued me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then I was like, I can't do that because we shoot Good Mythical Morning, and you know, if we happen to wear the same shirt too close between two episodes, people point it out. You know.
Well, it's the key thing that people want to comment on. I mean, if you wore the same thing every day, what would people comment about? Nothing. There's nothing else to comment about.
Right, and it wouldn't be like it was a daily show. It would be like these guys sat down and recorded a year's worth of shows in a couple of days.
So, but then it dawned on you that the freshness of experiencing a new outfit every day is more important to you than some sort of efficiency.
I think,
but I could fall for that.
But I think there is every reason. Let me just say this. I think there is only good reasons for picking one outfit. It's more economical.
Are you applying it for like a principal of a private school or something?
No. Yeah, this is all
what you're getting at.
This episode has been paid for by a private school that has uniform company. And we're trying to teach the kids that uniforms make sense. But no, there's a reason that uniforms make sense at school. We're not going to get into that. But so you've got it's economical. The whole thing that we just talked about, this whole self-conscious thing of like, I'm not going to be judged for what I'm wearing. You completely eliminate that because you're like, it doesn't matter what this guy's got going on that day. He wears exactly the same thing. It takes out that extra decision so that you have the brain power to put it in other places. But it also kind of is just sort of this, I'm making a statement that I'm not giving into this idea that I am what I externally apply to myself.
That seems healthy.
That all seems great, right? But you lose some things as well.
Yeah, like why don't you also just shave your head? You know, don't worry about that.
I mean, because there's self-expression involved.
Absolutely. I mean, you gotta be able to express yourself. I mean, like, how are people gonna know that I want to be happy today if I can never wear my happy shirt?
Well, because then, what if you just embodied your happiness in that's stupid. The things that you said, as opposed to the things that you wore. I mean, yeah, we got the hair.
Look at,
you got the hair. The hair is part of your body. It's an extension of yourself. It's like an animal. It's like a peacock. Somebody tells the peacock to cut
Пойдет.
I don't want to do that. The peacock cuts his feathers off. He doesn't get to pass his genes
Шлем
on to
надо
the
вот.
next generation.
No, it's like telling a snake.
Шлема нет.
Don't keep it yourself. That didn't work.
No, it is. Now, I'm not saying that if I cut my hair off, I wouldn't be able to pass my genes to the next generation. I've already passed my genes to the next generation. And it had nothing to do with my hair.
Let's just say
because I just had basically a buzz when I got married.
You passed it. You made it sound like your seed was spread far and wide. I mean, you had 2 children.
My hair is like a dandelion.
Такие
Any
ебаные.
opportunity for self-expression is a liberty that should be granted.
So,
subject to how it impacts other people. So, I mean, if you're just gonna, but you should not be defined by any one particular way that you've expressed yourself.
but you can also choose for your form of self-expression to be that I'm going to wear the same thing every day. That's your prerogative. Right. It's worked well for a lot of people. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to hold out the possibility that there will come a time in which I will wear the same thing every day. One of the happiest times of my life is when I had a buzz. When I had a buzz cut. I had a buzz in like the 7th and 8th grade, a little bit of 9th grade. And then I had...
and are you saying it was because of the buzz? Because I don't think it had anything to do with the buzz. I don't recall you saying, because I was there, but you every day said, man, I just love this buzz.
But I did love...
My life is great because my hair is so short.
I love the feeling of the wind in my hair.
You never told me.
I was thinking it all the time. And I love the idea of just getting up and not having to think about my hair.
I think this convertible's messing with you. It's not like...
I need to have a buzz and I need to buy that convertible.
Yeah, a couple of weeks weeks from now, you're not gonna have the convertible anymore, and you're gonna have a buzz, and you're not gonna feel any wind in any hair, and you're gonna be like, I shouldn't have done that.
What I'm saying
I gotta get a convertible again.
I think that my 60s are going to be defined by having a buzz, having a really, really big bushy beard that's completely unkempt, like a Letterman beard, like what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have just a suit, I think it's just gonna be a onesie, and maybe I'll pick an interesting color like yellow. You know, it's the guy in the yellow onesie with the buzz and the beard. That's gonna be me.
Banana
in my,
dude?
but Banana Man in my 60s. A good 10-year span of that. I got 20 years to plan this out. I mean, that's just kind of a starting point. Buzz, glasses, goggles. Because I'm gonna be in a convertible at all times. Goggles for eye protection.
Yeah.
Big buzz, banana suit, maybe like blue shoes, like blue high tops or something like that. And that's just who I am. That's what I do all the time.
I want long braids.
Okay.
Like, once it gets so long, and you braid it, I'm talking like Willie Nelson. I think you want to be David Letterman. I'm pretty sure I want to be Willie Nelson.
Okay, you want braids?
And a beard.
A short beard. Short. He keeps it pretty short.
He does keep it short. No, I'll go long.
Long beard.
It's like a Rick Rubin meets Willie
No, it's
Nelson.
kind of like a Waylon meets Willie.
Well, yes, perfect.
Yeah. A Waylon. What do you got? What's your clothes gonna be?
Overalls, no shirt underneath. I mean, I might have to but I'm gonna figure out the overalls. It's like not flannel, because it's hot. Malibu.
By that time, 20 years from now, there'll be some sort of
Like
poly fabric.
Poly fabric.
Self-wicking.
Self-wicking.
Like a high-tech
Inner lining of overalls. And by overalls,
Yeah, you could probably use
nothing else.
sleeve shirt completely clear. Now the technology will be out of control.
Why would I want a perfectly clear shirt?
So you always look like you're just in a pair of overalls, but when it gets cold, you're still clothed.
You're right, I'm cold-natured.
Yeah.
You're looking out.
Yeah, I thought
Another
about
teacher
that.
before. So I'm gonna wear a long sleeve, translucent sweatshirt, overalls,
Yeah. Self-wicking overalls.
and those boots that I wore to Sundance, because I'm itching to wear
Yeah, you need more excuses.
big old boots, braids, and a Waylon beard.
Banana Man and Waylon. Coming at you.
I mean, it's not our prescription for you.
You can wear whatever you want,
But you can do it, and if you do it before we do it, we're gonna be angry about it. So,
And let me just say,
don't do it. Okay?
I do want to be very clear that I do think that you shouldn't just pick one thing to wear. I think at least for as long as we're selling clothing, t-shirts and other things, definitely on that. Keep it real mixed up. You know, you're gonna want to wear that stuff. But when you get to your 60s, I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Don't start now, but let's just all make a commitment that when we get to our 60s, if we get to our 60s, that's when we simplify things. You pick your suit, you pick your haircut, you pick your facial hair configuration, and you just roll with it until the end. I'll be Banana Man till I'm in the grave.
Until the end. Through the end. Last shot. You know what I'm gonna look like. Take a picture.
Bury me in my translucent sweater.
And keep your cool when confronting them in a traffic situation.
Yeah, don't be like Link.
I mean, you win by keeping your cool, and you are cool by just being who you are. If that means wearing the same thing every day or wearing something different every day, you wear that happy shirt.
Yeah, wear your happy shirt. Be happy. And we're going to bring you another ear biscuit next week.
Monday, first thing. These things are going to keep coming out. Give us your feedback on SoundCloud, in a review on iTunes, or in the comments of this YouTube video.
And remember, the video version of Ear Biscuits is always available at youtube.com/thisismythical.
Thank you for being your mythical best.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click the video on the left.
To watch more from This Is Mythical, click the video on the right.
And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the circular icon.
Thanks for being your mythical best.
Welcome to Ear Biscuits.
Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. Joining us today, not at the round table of dim lighting, but in a relatively well-lit room at VidCon are some mythical beasts.
That's right. This is the first ever. What did we just decide? We're calling it a live recording.
A live recording of
Because
Ear
we
Biscuits.
are live, and this is being recorded in front of people. Ear Biscuits, and so this is experimental.
We normally sit kind of across from each other or at a 90-degree angle from one another.
Right.
When doing Ear Biscuits.
We're in a Good Mythical Morning configuration.
Right. This is kind of weird.
But we're doing the
I've never
podcast.
seen you with headphones.
You've looked at me while we've done this, but it does make me be more aware of how we typically record an Ear Biscuit. That, yeah, you're right. It's dimly lit. We're at the round table.
I'm usually leaning back.
It's not like we're constantly looking at each other. There might be an occasional glance, like, "When are you going to shut up so I can talk?"
But we have
You give me
little
that look
cues.
alive.
We have little cues because when two people interview one person, first of all, we have built-in redundancy. So if one of us passes out during the interview, the other person picks up.
Or dies. Let's just go all the way.
That's really what the whole design of this thing was about, was that we could continue this thing when one of us passes away. But during an Ear Biscuit, you may notice that sometimes we do start talking at the same time. Sometimes that's edited out if it's really embarrassing. But there are like little like
It's so embarrassing when we talk at the same time.
I'm coming in like the hand has to come in a little bit early, and it's not being recorded. Sometimes I think the guest thinks we're coming in for like a throat jab or something. But I'm like, yeah. We don't do that today.
The irony is, A, we're talking at the same time right now, and B, I've never seen this signal, so it's like totally not worked.
Well, that's another thing. Talking about. Look straight for a second. So, with your glasses, you may notice that your peripheral vision often is compromised.
Yeah, I can't see you at all.
So
I've been right now.
Apparently, I've been making this hand signal for 2 years for no one. Except myself. We should have talked about this.
Yeah, sometimes
I thought we had a system.
like a fingertip might fly in sometimes. I'm like, what? I just saw like, did I just catch a fingertip? It's like, no, that.
I'll just
means
start
you
like this.
Right.
I'll reach out in front.
Just actually, just pull my ear. It's like a form of pull my finger that involves. It's just for podcasting.
Okay.
But still involves passing gas.
So, moving right along, the idea today is we're going to take some questions that were submitted on the internet and also some questions that were submitted in real life by you. And answer them in no particular order.
The handwriting here is it's fabulous.
Exquisite.
Thanks for doing that, and thanks for waiting to come in. I know a lot of you guys were waiting for quite some time, so were we. Which made it weird. We could have just just kidding. Okay, let's get a question here. This is Jules at JulissaLee03 tweeted at us. What was your first impression of each other? P.S. I love you guys. Various emoticons of hearts.
I do have a very specific memory of Link in first grade, that first day that we met. If you know the story about being held in from recess because we wrote profanity on our desks in Miss Locklear's class. We had to sit there, just the two of us, coloring. And I specifically remember, like, I'm a first grader, and I was, I think, a typical first grader, at least according to how my sons have been. And it was kind of like, I have a crayon, and I'm just doing this. You know, just like this boot needs, and all the area around it needs to be red and very dark.
And by this, motion like you've got a fist, but you're making a motion as if you're like chopping down trees, like erratically.
Right, but that's me coloring.
Yeah.
And then I look over, and Link is like really right inside of these lines, and it's really light, and it's very calculated. I was like, what is wrong with this kid?
I'm meticulous, man.
I was like, it's the most, he's taking so much time and approaching this with so much care. How is this possible? I've never seen anything like this.
I was just thinking, probably, because I don't remember, but I was, knowing myself now, and projecting it back to then, I'm pretty sure I was thinking, man, I don't want to screw this up, because I don't want to be trapped in here with this guy tomorrow at recess. It's like, I thought it was some sort of aptitude test. It's like, I'm beating this guy. I'm not going to be in here tomorrow. So, yeah, sadly, I'm sure that there was some sort of feeling analyzed, like I was performing for somebody. Like, oh, I can't get this right. I don't know how to do this.
But it would also make you uncomfortable if I had just reached over and, like, colored your boot.
Oh, that would kill me, man.
Yeah, you couldn't handle that.
Yeah, we would have, it would have been, we wouldn't have been friends. We would have fought. Let me read another question. Colin, all capital letters with spaces in between each letter, asks, what was your dream job as a child? So, okay, we're still in childdom here.
I call it childhood, usually.
My dream job as a child was to be a weatherman. Not a meteorologist, but a weatherman. So growing up,
An unqualified meteorologist.
I mean, first of all, David Letterman was a weatherman.
He was. Pat Sajak was a weatherman. He's the host of Wheel of Fortune. That is a show you may be familiar with.
Which is our standard of excellence in all things.
But I actually thought...
If there's no wheel involved, I want no part of it.
I actually thought when I was 5 years old... No, that's quite too young. Too old. 4 years old. That
You're making it up. It could be any age you want.
Pat Sajak was on the weather in California. Local weather. I actually lived out here when I was like 3, 4, and 5. I saw him doing the weather, and I thought that my dad was doing the weather because my dad looks just like Pat Sajak, and it's about the same height. He's 5'9". A lot of people don't know that. Anyway, my dad is not Pat Sajak. He has never done the weather. I brought that up. Oh, you wanted to be a weatherman?
Yeah, because Bob DeBartoleben,
Yeah, he's a real weatherman.
was
North Carolina.
awesome. I mean, his name was Bob DeBartoleben, and that was enough for me. He was on television every night, and he
was a local celebrity.
He served. He was a friend who told me what the conditions were going to be in my environment, aka the weather. It just seemed he was important,
Yeah, very.
It's like, how are you going to know what the weather's going to be
Without Bob.
No, and like 5 days into the future, the dude was magical.
Yeah, he's like he's a prophet. He's a weather prophet.
And he was bald.
Yeah.
So he looked like a prophet. They're all bald, right?
Yeah. By the end, yeah. Okay.
What about you? What was your dream job as a child?
I wanted to be an architect, and I would, from a very early age, I would make floor plans for homes. Like at age 6.
Like, would you charge for it?
No, I would just, I got a charge from it, doing it.
Okay, Dad.
But
this was a service you were performing for anybody.
At any given time.
These were
I was
hypothetical.
like a 6-year-old kid.
These were hypothetical houses.
Yeah. And there was no structural engineering, approach to this. But I would literally, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know, but at any given time you could walk into my room and I would have this elaborate floor plan with doors and this is the bedroom, this is the bathroom.
Like a
foyer.
Like an overhead blueprint, right?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it was a 2D floor plan. I didn't do any 3D. I didn't do any folds or anything.
Oh, you didn't incorporate origami.
It wasn't an origami house. No. And I wanted to do that for a long time.
And you got you got a civil engineering degree.
But the reason I got a civil engineering degree,
thought it was somehow related.
well, no, it is related. because the structural and civil engineering department at NC State University is the same building. It's the same. You just kind of go to the same classes and then it branches off. And then once I got into it, it's hard. And I was like, which one's easy? It's the easy one. You know, the one where you put water through pipes. Something that a farmer could do probably without an engineering degree. That's the one that I chose, and that's what I ended up getting a degree in.
So what are we concluding? In some way, I'm living my dream. I mean, sometimes I'm in front of a green screen, and there could be weather on it,
Yeah.
if we so chose,
Right?
you know. And I have access to like weather forecasts that I could relay to people without having a degree, which is what a weatherman is. But you've just abandoned your
My
dreams.
dreams have been shattered.
Right.
I no longer make floor plans.
I'm sorry for pointing that out. Lelo Gonolo.
Led Wama. I said this is last name.
That's her name.
She
That's
asked.
awesome.
Have you guys ever seriously hurt or come close to seriously hurting yourselves while filming?
You first, since you have the easier answer, I'm sure.
I don't think I've ever hurt myself while filming. Definitely not seriously.
But you've been hurt, and then we had to film something, and it was potentially seriously compromised. I'm talking about the Conan thing with your back.
Oh, yeah. So, I have back issues. I don't have a great back necessarily.
It's just long.
Yeah, I have a very long back.
So something's bound to be compromised.
And right after we moved to LA, when we were working on commercial shows, you know, when you do a television show, there's all these there's the PR side of it and the press tour. And so, and the 2 days before we were supposed to go on, I threw my back out. It turns out it was.
How did you throw your back out?
I was eating a sandwich.
But that's true.
There's a large sandwich. It had a lot of meat on it.
Oh wow.
And I'm not kidding, as I was, well, it turns out, I mean, this is probably,
It's common to throw your back out eating sandwiches because,
well, what happens is, what I was told later is, well, you probably did something before the sandwich. And then it just happened to be while you were eating the sandwich that it went out. So anyway, I was in extreme pain. Like, I couldn't really stand up. I definitely could not walk straight without leaning very hard to one side. So much so that I was like, we have to walk out from behind that curtain and shake Conan's hand and sit down. And
it was going to be a disaster.
we thought we had to address it.
That had to become the whole thing. I remember when I first saw you, you texted me, you were like, sandwich back, bad, we need plan, call the weatherman, or something. But when I saw you, even though you had prepared me, it was, how do I describe it? It's like you were walking towards me, came in the room very slowly, and it was, I guess it's like if you had a freeze frame of what could be the most painful part of a contortionist act.
Or someone dodging a punch constantly.
Right. But knowing that they're still going to get hit, so their face is
right.
Oh, no, I'm about to get hit.
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to be on Conan with this guy.
Well, and you may not know this, but you probably have picked up on this, that when you're on a talk show, the host is feeding the pre-prepared questions to the comedian or whoever it is, so they can say the 4 or 5 things that they've already come up with, and he knows exactly what questions they're going to be asked. So, because a producer calls you ahead of time, and they're like, okay, this is what we're going to ask you. Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about? Let's work it out. So you kind of work out, we're going to show this clip, and Conan's going to ask this question, and then we're going to tell this story. But then we were like, there's something we need to mention, and that's that my back is hurt so bad that we feel like we may have to address it. But he was like, okay, we'll just play that by ear. You can kind of tell he was like, I don't want your back to be a part of this, man. But then when we got there was so much adrenaline just from being on a show like that there was absolutely absolutely no problem. I felt absolutely no pain. You can watch it. It doesn't look like I'm in pain because I wasn't. But as soon as the show was over, it was cool. Oh, I forgot that part. Really? Yeah. So I didn't think about that. I'm kind of leaning out of this thing. You don't have to share the burden. I have enough pain in my eyes, right? But you have been seriously hurt while filming.
Yeah, and I'll keep this one short because there's a whole video. I mean, I think it's called Link's Fall Fail. Is that what it's called? It's on our second channel, but basically I thought it would be cool to run at top speed for like an interstitial for Commercial Kings, and I just fell. I didn't fall flat on my face. I actually fell on like 18 different parts of my body in rapid succession. But it was caught on camera in such a way that like we could analyze it in slow motion and make a video out of it. Well, and then sadly it's been seen more than the television show.
So it was for the interstitial stuff, like as we were cutting to commercial and coming back from commercial on the show, had these little vignettes. And so this one where Link nearly died.
It's violent, you know.
He was hurt so bad, so bad.
It's like something you would show to kids before
He broke his elbow.
So that they don't run to prom.
You broke your elbow, right? Or it was.
They couldn't find a break,
but it was dislocated.
But I know it was.
It was bad, and it affected him for a while. But it affected him so much, he was like, we have to put this in every episode. So in every episode of Commercial Kings,
before the commercial break, you
like
are falling.
Bam,
Yeah. The ground. Here's a question from the room. No name is on it, but you know your handwriting. Who asked this question? How does making videos affect your family life? How did it take the news that you were going to do YouTube full time? It's somebody. You're awesome. You're in here.
Take credit.
Right there. Don't be shy.
Your edit, take credit.
How did they take the news that you're going to do YouTube full time? Like, well, I mean, we didn't like sit them down like, kids, your parents are splitting up. actually, we did.
Well, interestingly, our wives are one of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing right now. Because we told the stories in some capacity somewhere, but going back to right out of college when we were working as engineers, we wrote a song for our roommate Greg's wedding rehearsal dinner.
Right. We basically wanted to make fun of him in front of his whole family, and warn his fiance that like it's not too late to change your mind in a song.
And it was actually, the song was later, the lyrics were all changed and it became the Unibrow song, which was like one of the first songs ever on YouTube from us. But this one was all about Greg and like the wedding night, how embarrassing it was going to be for both of them.
It says, we've seen Greg naked, soon you will too, hope you enjoy it more than we do.
Right, that was a chorus.
But you probably won't. No, we didn't say that.
And, but we did this song and like, everybody really reacted to it well, and then on the way back home, with our wives, they were like, you guys should do, there should be more than just doing this in like wedding receptions. You know, you should, there's something here, like you should really do something with this.
Right, so now whenever, you know, we have to be away to be here and do something else that impacts our family, it's like, well, it's your fault.
Yeah, right, it's your idea.
We put it back on them, is that what you were getting at? And then, you know, with the kids, you know, how do they take the news that you're going to do YouTube full time? It's more of, okay, this is what dad does, and it's like no big deal, really. I think is what all the kids would say. It's interesting that they now have friends who find out that their parents are one of us. Does that make sense? That,
hey, are your parents one of them?
One of them YouTubers. But they're fine about it.
I think it was kind of everybody's dad must do this until it was like, oh, okay, you watch my dad on the internet? That's weird.
Yeah.
I
watch him at dinner sometimes, but I try to look away.
They're dealing with that.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, they're dealing with that in their social lives. We should probably check in on that. We should probably ask them some questions.
Here's a question. Brian asks, how often do your families interact?
Definitely keep them separated.
They actually don't know about each other.
Yeah, right.
No, very often, our kids are, Locke and Lincoln are like our best friends, and then Lando and Shepard are our best friends. It's really, it's cool to have,
By design.
Yeah, it's cool to see see our friendship in their friendship.
Well, and we have two chances of being replaced. If Locke,
Again, redundancy.
if Locke and Lincoln end up just sucking, then Lando and Shepard are like the next in line. They can try. Or they can both do things. I don't know.
And I'm sure Lily will want to produce the whole thing. So Lily's the oldest of all the kids,
But it was not
she's a girl.
It
so
wasn't
it's like
engineered.
she's kind of an odd man out.
It was not engineered. Well, she's a woman.
Not quite.
But it wasn't engineered,
Hopefully.
and there's always been this, with our wives it was, okay, you guys kind of have to be best friends now. No one ever said that, but it was sort of like this expectation that, like, okay, well, you're either going to be best friends or you're going to have to find a way to get along. But they do get along. And the kids, it was like, all right, the first, Lily was first, and then Locke, who's a year younger than she is, and then Lincoln, and they're good friends. I should say they are good friends, right? But Lily and Locke and Lincoln kind of naturally, they kind of gravitated towards one another, and they sort of just naturally became great friends. They see each other all the time, and then Lando and Shepard are each other's favorite person on Earth. So it's just that's what's going right now. We're just like, all right, hands off, guys. Don't feel like you have to have a YouTube channel or a website or anything. Just be friends.
But there's like a percolating assumption, isn't there?
Well, we have.
We don't talk about it.
We have reserved all the websites. Yes, we do have all the websites reserved.
Or at least we'll say that so you don't do it right now.
Don't do it.
It's instead of just talking about our wives, though, it would now's probably a good time to say that, hey, they're here, so we're going to bring them out.
You're such a jerk, Link. This is okay. Let me tell you, our wives are not here, and I want to tell you something about Link. Okay, you may know this already, but definitely I know this about Link. Everyone who works with us knows this about Link.
Do I know it?
Link, his style of joke is a joke that is only funny to him. It's like this. No. This is not all of them. I hope. No. I'm saying you have this thing that happens just like that. Where it's just like, I'm gonna say something right now, and the only thing the way these people can react is to be disappointed.
Okay, I'm testing their fervor.
It's a sickness.
Do they?
It is a sickness.
I mean, nobody's gotten up and walked out, so that's what I need. I need to know that if I'm upset, you're not going to abandon me.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with humor. It has to do with a deep-rooted insecurity.
Oh.
This is an ear biscuit, man.
Wow. Okay. All right. It's about to get serious.
Just a fear of abandonment by you guys. Okay.
So you would lie to them? That's your application.
No, but I'm trying to. I mean, do you have another example? Because you got to have more than one to say Link is like this.
You do this all the time.
Okay, I do it all the time. With people, it's usually like in groups of 2 or 3. Well, I think it's just kind of adding a little bit of awkwardness into any small gathering. Turning people against each other.
Well, okay.
Which means
that's an interesting thing because I also do like awkwardness a lot. One of the things that we have kind of discovered over the years is that, when we first got started making YouTube videos, and then one of the early commercials, right, the Red House Furniture and the TDM Auto Sales, and then what led to I Love Local Commercials and Commercial Kings. That's the favorite, in terms of what we've done, that's the favorite, work that we've ever done. We love those commercials, probably because we're not in them much, much, and we get to see other people do things, but they're so bad and they're so purposely awkward that we just like revel in that kind of thing. But what we have found, and you guys can confirm or deny this, especially with like the teenage generation right now, they're so uncomfortable with awkwardness that they can't watch it. So like we'll do something like okay, so we did an episode of Good Mythical Morning where we one of the backup plan Geico sponsored ones where we did the open house.
Yeah, so people were coming to the house to try to figure out if they wanted to buy it, but we were there to just screw it.
Right. And but also to learn how to be really safe. Oh yeah, right. And first of all, in general, a great reaction to the episode. People really liked it. But over the years, we've started seeing so many more comments about like, guys, what do you think those people thought when you were trying to sell that house to them in that way? It made me so uncomfortable I had to stop watching. You guys feel that way? Oh, you're lying now.
You do in the comments.
Okay, so you still like awkwardness. Okay. Because I'd say that's one of the reasons that we haven't made any more local commercials, honestly. Because people are like, are you taking advantage of these people? And we're like, I just don't even want to have that conversation anymore.
What's the fine line? Obviously, we don't want to take advantage of people, and there's a way to mess with people that's like still just fun and not at their expense. But it's not a hard line. It's not black and white. So you gotta dance around that.
Just having fun, man. Just having fun.
Mix it up. You should have a little fun. I got another question here. Which one did I want to read?
Haley Dowell.
Where's that one?
It's right under the previous one.
Oh, you're not looking at my screen.
Oh, no.
Our screens are not...
I'm looking at my screen.
Read it.
How do you guys put up with each other all the time?
Good question. I'm glad it wasn't, like, phrased towards one of us. Like, Brett, how do you put up with Link all the time?
Well, that was in there, but I chose not to read it. I did this one.
How do we... What's the real answer to this?
There is a real answer. But, we had a really good conversation with the Wasabi Bros on Ear Biscuits. Was that last week? That was a week ago?
Basically embracing conflict.
Well, this has happened a couple of times. It happened when we had Smosh on as guests. Anytime we have a duo, we really like to start talking to them about their process and like how they get along because we've been working together for a really long time. And what you find when you talk to somebody like Smosh or somebody like even Wasabi
Кот
Bros,
сдурел, кот.
They've been working together for a long time, but they're kind of younger. They haven't, we're getting old at this point. And
Да ну нахер.
we're like, you guys haven't really had a lot of conflict. Because we're like, well, how do you guys like resolve conflict and how do you argue with each other? And like, well, we don't. And if you go back and listen to the episode last week with the Wasabi Bros, they had like,
We just lay into them at that point.
they started talking about the fact that one of them was they were moving out, they were living together, but now they're moving out. They're still working together, but they're moving out. And they started like, they hadn't talked about why. And so they started talking about why during the Ear Biscuit. It was great. It was awkward though. But we like that.
But for us, I think the answer is what we told them, which is embracing conflict in order to resolve it and just to have open communication. Because I think the point, the first point about this is how do you guys put up with each other all the time? Because it is all the time.
Because there are a lot of people who, a lot of duos will like have get together to do. They're like, oh, we get together on Tuesday. We carpool. I mean, we are together from 9 to at least 6 every single day, and then each other projects and that kind of thing, over the weekend. So it's pretty constant.
Yeah, because it's like nothing can fester because any low level of tension very quickly builds up when you're spending that much time together. If you're, that any get that stuff out there.
Yeah, and there is conflict. I mean, I think we've been pretty open about that. Relaxed, and it's a lot of people say it's like a therapy session when they come on the show because the way we start start asking questions. But then we start kind of talking about us and trying to relate to the people and that kind of thing, and kind of processing different things. But yeah, it's like, I think, I don't know, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think what we ended up saying was conflict is guaranteed and communication is key. So in any relationship, there's going to be conflict. And so we're constantly bouncing ideas off of one another and working on things and trying to fine-tune something, develop something. And it's all the time, and we're two different personalities, and we actually think very differently and approach things very differently, which I think is a strength, but it's just, it's also a source of conflict.
Yeah.
So,
and we vacation separately.
We do. We're about to do that, actually. We're not going to the same
Going on vacation.
Oh, yeah, I'm going on vacation at the same time.
Man, I thought I was on to something.
And we're actually heading in opposite directions. We're not even going to separate places. We're literally like moving apart from each other.
Right. And when we shouldn't talk.
Oh, we won't.
Right.
No. I'm blocking you.
And when we that's okay. I'm effectively
that got some applause.
Yeah, because we always joke whenever we relaunch the new season of Good Mythical Morning, it's like, where have you been? But it's kind of true. Because we will have been on vacation separate.
Right.
Here's a question. Morgan Whitted asks, do y'all have a favorite episode of Good Mythical Morning? Do we have a favorite episode of Good Mythical Morning? Well, there's a lot of them. They all start to run together. And then we'll be thinking about something we want to talk about and be like, I feel like we talked about that. And then we'll do it, and then the comments will say, you've already talked about this. That actually hasn't. That's almost happened a couple of times. They all start to run together, but do you have a favorite?
Well, I think there's an ironic principle in this. The episodes that are the crowd favorites are probably the ones that are the least favorite for us to do. So like the Will It episodes. The more we suffer, the more people seem to respond to those things.
But I think there's a difference between the two of us, too. And so let's not talk about what our favorite episodes are, but let's talk about types of episodes, because I do anticipate a different answer between the two of us of what type of episodes are our favorites. Yeah, Willits are, they're very trying. Obviously, for me, they're very trying. But it's nice knowing that that you guys love them and that they're going to perform really well. It's really nice to know you can put something out there and that you're going to, not only are we going to be proud of it, but that it's going to work, that it's going to get a whole bunch of views. Like, that is a great feeling, having worked on YouTube as long as we have, and before Good Mythical Morning, this is just the psychology of why I love these episodes, even though I vomit on because we know there's going to be that return on investment. Before Good Mythical Morning really took off, every video was kind of like starting from scratch in a lot of ways. And, it was most likely a music video, and we knew it was going to be well received if it was going to blow up, so to speak. And of course, you want that. So I love the Willits because they're going to do well. So that really helps, me stare down the barrel of that trash can and actually be happy about it. But those are my favorite types. What's your favorite type episode?
I definitely like the information-heavy ones, where we're like breaking something open. We do a lot of list episodes because that's not just because that's what works on the internet, but because it's a great way to think about information. That's why listers, they've always been popular and will always continue to be popular. But I think I like the ones where it's more like, oh, this story about this guy who for 25 years, or this the alien abduction ones where we each had the most convincing alien abduction story, because those are the kinds of things that I would naturally kind of read and think about and talk about naturally, because there's this principle we talk about this a lot, like the way we want to present information on Good Mythical Morning is the way that we would want to present it at a party. We were like, hey, you guys hear about that guy that hibernated for 25 years? Let's talk about that.
And then present is verb in that.
Just have a conversation about it.
It's like, when we're at a party, it's like there's this, you want to.
That's why we started Ear Biscuits, because we do this. We have this tendency that if we are together at a social function and we find somebody who like has a weird job, and sometimes they're like,
or a normal job, but I'm convinced there's got to be something hidden.
we start asking, like this guy right here. We would like ask him some questions about his weird camera, and we would like get him in a corner.
So wait, you're the stick guy. Like there's a camera on the end of the stick.
Like where do you get that stick? And like what kind of camera is that? And this is everybody gets one of these.
Yeah, under your seat.
This is like Oprah.
This guy works for Google. Be nice to him.
Okay, all right. It does say YouTube on his.
You know how the paychecks.
But we kind of like we team up on somebody who like.
Oh yeah, we would be all.
It's like
all over.
like a septic tank pump guy. He's like, man, nobody's ever asked me so many questions about my job. But y'all got tag teaming me up in
And that's
here.
not just an example. That's half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so we ended up talking to the septic tank guy for 45 minutes, and like he leaves with his wife, and I can only imagine. It's like, man, there's these two guys.
I think they're going to start a septic. Giving them all the information that they need. But it's just because we're interested in things. So,
but that's also why that was the kernel that started Good Mythical Morning. Is it the kernel?
Actually, the kernel.
Like KFC kernel.
The whole thing is that this
started
sponsored by KFC. Like the stealth KFC sponsorship. No, going to be revealed in episode 1000.
The kernel with a K that started Good Mythical Morning was your tendency more than mine to have a new thing that you wanted to talk to me about. And so then Good Morning Cheerleading was, well, we're carpooling and we're talking about something. We should just put this on the internet. Which was then weird because then we had to be quiet in the car, and then we would just put it out there. This is the 10-minute conversation that we would have had in the and those are still your favorite episodes because you're the. I think you're more the kind of thinker. Would you say that's a good way to put it? I don't know how.
You're kind of the reactor.
Yeah. So like for me, my favorite episodes, there's a little less. There's more pressure when there's something that I need to think about and have to talk about. For you, it's not pressurized. It's just I'm excited to talk about this thing, and I'm certainly excited to talk about. Alien abduction stories or any of that stuff too. It's not that I don't enjoy talking about it, but I think it's a little more pressurized for me. Whereas, when we play the games and it's just okay, just react, just kind of go on gut and see what happens.
Right.
Or I like those because they're a little less pressurized for me. It's like okay, by design, what I don't know is going to happen. If it happens, it's going to be the best part of the episode for me, or I feel like that's how I'm going to contribute. At least that's how I start to think about it, and so I'm a little more. It's easier for me to just step into those episodes where it's like responding.
Right. And that's why we do a lot. We do both. We do a lot of different stuff.
So the game formats are easy to step into. I like those, and then the physical stuff where we're doing stuff.
Right. And we're continuing. We're always trying to come up with a new format within Good Mythical Morning. That's like, let's try debating each other about something ridiculous. So we're continuing to develop those ideas, and you'll see some of those in season 8. Ayla Alzabi asks, "Are there unpublished GMM episodes?" This is a really good question. Unpublished is probably not the right word because. Created an episode, edited it, and then got to upload. That's never happened. But what has happened, you might be interested to know, or maybe you kind of figured this, is that every once in a while there's an episode that about 5 minutes in we're like, okay, let's start this again.
And why is that? Like, what are the reasons?
I would say the most reason that happens is we have like, and this is a little insight into whether, you know, how much this is planned, right? So the process that creates an episode of Good Mythical Morning has evolved quite a bit and is much more structured and stringent than it used to be. When it was just like, oh, I got something. Just trust me. Let's talk about this. To no, let's sit down with our team. Let's decide on what we're going to talk about. Then let's have our team, you know, find the information, kind of consolidate the information, so we're not going off on the internet all the time trying to find everything. Then us sort of reviewing it, paring it down, dividing it up, kind of figuring out. I'm taking this. So it's not scripted, but it's outlined pretty, you know, tightly, but it's so off, the show's so off the cuff that sometimes we'll start this riff at the beginning of a list and realize that we just talked about that septic tank guy for 4 minutes, and this is an episode about something totally different, and there's a timer. That's why most of the episodes are about the same length, because there's a timer. We just don't have this innate sense to go like 11 minutes and stop. And sometimes it'd be like,
now we kind of do timer too.
One of us would be like, okay, let's start this again. I'd say that's 1 out of 20.
Right, because I mean, we'll continue with that answer by asking another question, which was, can you explain your rapid subscriber growth within the past year? What has changed since then, and how?
Суки ебучие, блядь.
Led to just the rapid growth of Good Mythical Morning was kind of developing a format so that when we say an episode's about something with the title, with the thumbnail, that we deliver on that, and you get that. So we like to. There's this weird dance because we never want to be so. We never want the show to be rigid.
Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. Joining us today at the round table of dim lighting is Rhett and Link. Hey, here we are. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And you. Me is glad to be here with you.
Me is glad to be here with us.
We
are glad to be here with them.
That could pretty much go on all day, but it won't.
Just the two of us, Rhett and Link only Ear Biscuits.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about something that's interesting to us and hopefully interesting to you today. And this is what we've been doing on some of these Rhett and Link only Ear Biscuits lately. We have what we're kind of calling like an extended Good Mythical Morning conversation. The kind of thing that we would condense down into a list of about 10 minutes. Now we're going to dig down, get into more detail, and have an interesting conversation. Follow some rabbit trails, learn some new stuff for about an hour.
Yeah,
so strap in.
Somebody actually called us out, put your lip balm on, using the term rabbit trail, and they said, it's not going on a rabbit trail, it's going down the rabbit hole.
Well, that's all part of the country you're from.
Yeah, I think in our part of the country, there's also rabbit trails.
Have you been down a rabbit trail? You'll get lost real quick, son. Rabbit hole, you can't even get in a rabbit hole. You might stick your nose in it. You might stick your hand in it. Might get bit by a rabbit.
A little blonde girl can go down a rabbit hole. That's where that's from. It's referring to
It's
that.
a book. Later turned into a movie. I'm familiar with it.
And that's what we're talking about today. Misused colloquialism.
No, we're not. We're talking about acquired savant syndrome, also known as accidental genius. Now, this is fascinating.
Охуеть,
Because
ничего нет.
both you and I have been hit in the head pretty badly a couple of times in our life. And it has resulted in some great stories, especially what happened with Link. You can go on the internet and look on our...
Just search Link's broken pelvis story.
Yeah. It's the whole thing. The only interesting thing that happened to you was you just began repeating evidently, hold on, I'm just coming to, evidently I hurt my left hip. Yeah. That one was fascinating, but it was nothing.
I did not get smarter.
Oh, no.
And that's what all of these are.
Yes.
I mean, people get hit in the head and becoming geniuses. Now, you said accidental genius, but I've also never met an intentional genius. You either are or you're not.
No, I'm an intentional genius. I used to be real stupid.
Well, you could say that for myself. I think we should dig into that. But all of this is real. If we were making any of this up, well, we'd be more genius than we are.
I think the warning I'll put up front is, I would say 99.9 something % of the time, when people we're going to describe these people
Get in the head.
get hit in the head.
Okay, yeah, okay.
99 point whatever % of the time, it doesn't end well. You don't get smarter.
No.
So I don't think this is something you can plan. So we're going to get into that. But first, we want to take a moment to tell you about our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the easiest way to create a blog or online store for you and your ideas.
Squarespace features an elegant interface, beautiful templates, and incredible 24/7 customer support. Try Squarespace at squarespace.com. Enter code BISCUITS. I know it's not the easiest word to spell. There's a C in it.
It looks like biscuits, but it's really just biscuits.
I know we don't have to tell you guys how to spell biscuit.
Just look at the Google.
I'm sorry. None of us are geniuses here, but we know how to spell biscuit.
We do.
So enter code BISCUITS at checkout to get 10% off. Squarespace.com. Offer code BISCUITS.
Squarespace, build it beautiful.
All right, let's get into this biscuit.
Okay, first up is Ben McMahon from Melbourne, Australia. Early 2012, he's 20 years old, and he's a passenger in a very bad car accident. It puts him in a coma for a week. He almost dies.
Okay.
But after 1 week in a coma, he finally woke up, and all he could speak was Mandarin.
Well,
He's an Australian guy.
who didn't speak Mandarin?
Okay, let me give you a little bit more information about this, because it is completely fascinating, but it's
Did he
not...
speak Australian?
But it's not like there was a Mandarin lesson plan in the DVD player of the car that suddenly got like shoved into his mouth and somehow his brain absorbed it. Yeah, because that would have been really cool.
That's not what I was thinking.
Okay. Ben was an English speaker. He couldn't speak Mandarin before his accident, but he did have a point of reference. In high school, only years prior, a few years prior to the accident, he studied French and Mandarin, and he also traveled and spent some time in Beijing. But he can never speak Mandarin fluently until he woke up from his coma. So it's one of those things where he had learned quite a bit about it, but had never put it into practice to actually be able to speak it. So it's kind of like I took 3 years of French class, and then I can say "je suis René," and I roll my R, which is not even appropriate for French. I have no idea how to speak French. Yeah, I almost said speak France to give you just a point of reference.
Right.
But I was in class for 3 years, supposedly.
And so was Mr.
brain
McMahon.
So he wakes up.
Wow, so it's like him getting hit in the head after the coma. It's like it unlocked that place,
Right.
where all this information was.
And here's how it happens. He wakes up from his coma after being in a coma for a week, almost dying. There's an Asian nurse. I don't know if that's a key to this process working, but there's an Asian nurse standing by his side. He's in Australia, but he sees an Asian nurse, and he tells her in Mandarin, "Excuse me, nurse, I feel really sore here." He points. I don't know where he pointed. I don't have a video of it.
That's not pertinent.
He then asked for a pen and paper and wrote in Chinese,
Oh, wow.
"I love my mom. I love my dad. I will recover." Here's what Ben said about this.
He's got good priorities.
He said,
Loving those parents.
"I wasn't consciously thinking I was speaking Mandarin. It
He's
was
just talking.
just what came out and what was most natural." Speaking English again, and now he speaks both languages fluently.
But his go-to language on the other side of the coma was Mandarin.
Yeah, exclusively.
In a way that it had never been. It wasn't like his brain had choice. It was that it opened up something that like a Mandarin valve. Do we all, as humans, have a Mandarin valve that just needs to be opened?
I highly doubt that.
But if,
I don't have a
But is it a valve? Is it a valve that French would come out if it were open for us after 3 years?
It's probably not a valve. It's probably a part of the brain.
But there's so little we know about the brain that these anomalies
Well, there is
are a window into that.
Well, okay.
And plumbing analogies, I'm sure, they go a long way in neuroscience.
Instead of you conjecturing and saying that there was potentially He said...
Can you tell me in Mandarin?
No. He said the brain has different circuits that assist in language, speaking, breathing, and thinking. And he claims it is possible that parts of Ben's brain that could recall English got damaged during the crash, while those parts that retain Mandarin got activated when he woke up from the coma. So, we're not exactly sure what happened during the coma, but it's like it's like his brain compensated and went for the other part, the other language.
It rewired itself.
And it wasn't temporary, because listen to this. After this, he enrolled in a Mandarin class. I don't know why, I guess to dominate. I don't know, but he entered an international Chinese language competition. He started, which exists, Mandarin walking tours, and even hosted a Chinese TV show. He is now known as the best Mandarin-speaking Westerner in China, and some Chinese people say he speaks better Mandarin than them.
Dude, totally capitalized
Because of this freaking car accident.
on his head and the head. He became a celebrity.
He became a celebrity!
Just by being able. That white dude can speak some Mandarin.
Man, he's better than us!
He's gotta be like a TV game show host.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if I'm gonna like turn a corner after something bad happens to me, like it doesn't get any better than being a TV host. Like a game show host. That is where you got to go. It's like you have a superhuman ability. I'm not gonna fight crime. I'm not gonna
Let me host a show.
I'm not gonna fight like technical writing Mandarin crime. No, I'm gonna be a game show celebrity.
Well, I didn't say game show. That's what you heard. Did I say game show? I thought it said Chinese TV show.
Oh, I just well,
But I like to think that it was a game show.
That it was. I don't know why.
You're probably thinking like Japanese game show.
I think you said game show in Mandarin in there, and you didn't know what
Just
you were
subliminally.
saying.
Yeah, really, really
You
quietly.
spoke Mandarin, you don't
That's
know
what
what
it
you're saying. I think that's what it was.
Well, here's a question for us, though.
But I also noticed that the scientific explanation used electrical analogies because the brain is electrical impulses. But I'm still gonna lobby for
The valve.
plumbing analogy.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna keep going back to that, even though I know it's an electrical world in there.
Maybe his trap was clogged.
His English trap was clogged.
And the Mandarin pipe.
They went in there to let another.
Opened up.
Yeah, that's the valve.
Yeah, we should start our own university.
What's your question?
Here's a question for us. It is, would you willingly be in a car accident that would be this traumatic? But here's the thing. You know that you will recover fully, okay? But you will be in a coma for a week. I know this is a totally hypothetical, impossible situation, but let's just say I was a magic person, and I was the kind of person who could say, you can be in a car wreck right now, you're almost going to die.
You mean a magician?
Yeah, I'm going to be, no, this is a magic person is a totally different category. Magicians do fake stuff, but a magic person does real magic.
Oh, wow.
Okay? It's like a genie, but it's different. Okay?
Okay.
So, and you got to go through this process, but when you come out, you can speak any other language fluently, but the price you pay is the accident. Would you sign up for that? You have to go through the pain of recovery, but you will recover.
I mean, there's a lot of emotional baggage that comes along with being in an accident that I can't quantify having not done it, but I know there's like, I mean, that can stick. I can't quantify that, but let's just say that emotionally and mentally, like, there's no repercussions of the accident.
Right.
And no one else is hurt.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Rosetta Stone, but it's just a wreck.
Yeah, would that cost more than the DVDs or less?
Yeah, I think because you got to have a stunt coordinator.
Are you? I guess. First, I have to answer what the language would be.
You pick the language.
I know.
Like Rosetta Stone.
You go
on the website and you pick the language, and then a week later, we pick you up and have a record.
I have to answer.
I'm already opened up this business. I just was hoping you would be on board.
I think it would have to be Spanish, and I think I would have to know the answer to that before I answered the larger question of if I'd go through it. Well, I don't know. I got to think about game shows now. Like, what land would I like to host a game show in? Is really what you're asking, right? I mean, I would love to host. I don't think there's a lot of, not enough viewers. Like,
I definitely would do Spanish. It's a Spanish show. Also just Spanish.
Я не впаду, блядь, к нему сегодня нахуй, наверное, блядь.
I am going to be that and host all those Japanese game shows. That's me, man.
Well, you better.
Absolutely. This is now an easy answer.
You got to get started now, though, because when my program hits the internet, everybody's gonna be.
Roads at a wreck. CD-ROM series.
That's my idea.
I am so excited about being the Japanese game show host.
Okay, well, it's $500,000.
Well, I mean, that's like a weekly salary for game show host.
Probably.
Outside of Japanese government.
Okay, you got something better than that?
No, but I do have Tommy McHugh.
Okay, that was interesting.
Bar brawler turned art savant. Alright, so Tommy McHugh and spent most of his life causing trouble. This dude always gets brawls at pubs. You know how Liverpoolians, like they just brawl in pubs, man.
Hooligans.
Drugs when he was like in his 20s. Picture this dude's like, he's tatted up, burly, scruffy Liverpoolian. Man's man. In and out of prison. I mean, prison tattoo kind of a dude.
All right.
Not the kind of guy you see drawing pictures or writing poetry, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one day, back in 2001, Tommy was sitting on the toilet.
That was a good place to sit.
He was not in jail at the time.
Yeah, because that's a bad place to sit. You want to get that over with quickly.
But he had this real bad headache. And now, I will say, I've had a few headaches.
Yeah.
And I've been so desperate to get rid of them that I've actually thought, I wonder if I just use the restroom, if that will help. Like, I don't get migraines. You're looking at me like I'm an idiot.
Not connected.
I don't.
There's not a valve between the brain and
I've had headaches so bad. I'm willing to
Пиздец,
try
блядь.
almost anything to get rid of
Ёбаный
them.
в рот, нахуй.
That's one of the things I've tried. A bowel movement. And I know that's all time. That's a rabbit trail.
Я нахуй выиграю эту хуйню ёбаную сегодня или нет?
So,
Пидоры, блядь, дохнут, сука, как мухи, блядь.
So I'm just gonna. That's my friendly piece of advice. But Tommy,
Хуй кто поможет,
had
блядь.
a really bad headache.
Хуеплёты
He's on the
ебучие.
toilet. Turns out it was a brain hemorrhage. Dude's brain started to bleed, not from one, but from both sides due to rupturing aneurysms. And he was immediately rushed to surgery. I don't even know if they pulled his pants back up before they did.
I hope so.
Not only are you in it, you're in it to
win it.
go ahead, Angelica.
Okay.
Win it for yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter. But I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move.
Я один играю. Никто со мной не играет. Чисто рандомные ребята. Да я обычно с друзьями, но друзей нет в сети. Поэтому один. Слабовато. Недавно, видимо, играешь. Здорово. Пидора, блядь.